Hey, you! Let's go check out this deck tech. Let's be a thorn in a person's side, or should I say, a sliver in someone's side. Let's jump over at Moxfield to be able to see what we have brewing. Alright, we're over at moxfield.com, where we're going to be rocking out our Slivers deck. Yeah, that's right, we got a nice little buzz going on. This is a nice little deck that's going to be working together. We're going to call this Sliver in the Side, because it's always a pain in the butt with the slivers. Obviously, we're going to be rocking a bunch of slivers, and this also has a special little mix, and we're going to try something new with this video. With Sliver in the Side, our commander is Sliver Overlord. Costs a white, a blue, a black, a red, and a green for a 7/7. So that's a big old booty and a lot of toughness, or a lot of power, where we can end up actually commandering out people with 3 hits of this commander. But the big reason that we end up having this is because of the activated abilities it has. So we could pay 3, so that means we can also, it doesn't require to tap, so that means we can also play that right off the get-go. We can search our library for a Sliver card, reveal it, and put it into our hand, then shuffle our library. This is that tutor on the stick effect that we're looking for to find whatever Sliver that we need at the time. It also has a nice hidden ability of paying 3 to gain control of a Sliver. There's a couple shenanigans that you can end up doing with that. You can end up making him into a Sliver, or you can take that shapeshifter or changeling and make it into a Sliver. And be able to take that over as well, because it's also still a Sliver. That said, this is built around with 1 instant / sorcery in the deck. It's called Primal Surge. It costs 8 and 2 green. And the big thing about this is that we get to exile the top card of our library. If it's a permanent card, you may put that onto the battlefield. If you do, repeat this process. This is the only non-permanent card in the deck. This allows us to keep on going and going, and eventually just take everyone out. So most Sliver decks that you end up seeing, it up the natural kind of ramp, where they end up going with Nature's Lore, Rampant Growth, stuff like that, where you can end up having the fixings and everything with it. We have addressed that, but you'll see how we address it later on. Let's start off with the non-fun side, where we end up having 38 lands altogether. Alchemist's Refuge. It's a land that we can tap it for our colorless mana, or we can pay a blue and a green, and you may cast non-land cards as though as they had flash. So that means we can play at instant speed whenever we end up wanting, when we pay it a blue, a green, and then tap it. Bojuka Bog is a land that comes in and tap, but we get to exile all cards from a target player's graveyard. So that's our graveyard hate. Boros Garrison comes into play tapped, and we have to return a land that we control back to our hand. This is the good old-fashioned bounce lands that taps for a red and a white. Command Tower is the good old classic, where it taps for all the colors. Evolving Wilds allows us to fix a little bit. We have 7 Forest, 1 Gavany of Township, where we tap it for 1, pay 2, a white and a green, tap it, and we get to put +1/+1 counter on each creature that we control. Gemstone Mine enters with 3 mining counters on it. You can tap it, remove a mining counter, and produce mana of any color. And if it has no counters on it, we have to sacrifice it. Higari Rot Farm is the green-black version of those bounce lands. We have 3 islands, 4 mountains, a path to ancestry. Enters the battlefield tap, but we also have it that adds 1 mana of any color identity with our commander. Mana spent to cast creatures that shares that creature type with it. We get to scry 1. And then we have 4 planes. Rakdos Carnarium, the good old Rakdos version of that bounce lands. So it taps for a black and a red. Reliquary Tower, making us have no maximum hand size. Secluded Courtyard. Enters the battlefield, we have to choose a creature type. Spoiler alert, we're choosing Slivers. Tap for a colorless mana, or we could tap it for 1 mana of any color. Spend this only on creature spells of that chosen creature type, or activate abilities of that creature type. Simic Growth Chamber is the Simic colors of the bounce land. Sliver Hive is a nice little addition for this guy. It has, we could tap it for a colorless, or we could tap it for any mana to spend it on Sliver spells. Or we could pay 5, tap it, and we get to make a 1/1 color Sliver token and put it on the battlefield. Only activate this if you control a Sliver. Next up is Stomping Ground. This is a shockland where you can end up paying 2 life, and when it comes into play, instead of having it come into tap, it will be untapped. Taps for either a red or a green. 3 swamps. Terminal Moraine is another way we can end up fixing, but taps for our colors, or we could pay 2 and sacrifice it. And then we finish up with Unclaimed Territory. Again, we choose the creature type, and then whatever creature type that we have, it would be able to tap for that 1 color mana of any color for that creature type, or it could tap for a colorless. Let's show the way that we end up ramping with the deck. We have a nice little pool that ends up ramping. Most and foremost, we're going to start off with is a Soul Ring. Costs us 1 colorless mana, and we get to use 2 colorless. Then we have Arcane Signet that costs us 2. We get to add 1 mana of any color that goes with our commander. And now we're going to be heavy on the Signet, so buckle up, here we go. Azoria Signet, which costs us 2. You can tap 1 to be able to make a blue-white. Selesnya Signet lets us do the same thing, but we get green and white. Simic Signet, it makes it blue-green. Gruul Signet makes red-green. Golgari Signet makes black-green. And Orzhov Signet makes up white-black. We have a Talisman of Unity in it. We tap for a colorless, or we can pay 1 life, and it will be able to tap for a white or a green. We're more on the green side, so we ended up having the green mana that we tried going for. Chromatic Lantern costs us 3, and land you control, tap for any color, and that also taps for any color. And then we have a little cost reductor with Herald's Horn that costs us 3. We get to choose a creature type. Creature spells of that chosen type, 1 colorless less. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card of that chosen type, you may reveal it and put it in your hand. So it lets us also get more cards. Nevril's Disc is our board wipe. So if we're too far behind, we can end up blowing up everything. Costs us 4, enters the battlefield tapped. We can pay 1, tap it, destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. And another I Win card is Coat of Arms. It costs us 5 colorless, where each creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield that shares at least 1 creature type with it. So this is the thing that works with everyone at the table. So it's not just you, but like if they have slivers, they'll end up getting it. Or if they have like a bunch of goblins, they'll also have it. This is a way to reward you for being able to play tribal. Obviously, we don't want to be playing it until we can end up winning the game, because we don't want to give other people that buck. Alright, so let's go over and see the stars of the show. We have 40 creatures altogether. We have Gale-Riding Sliver, that costs us 1 blue. That gives all slivers that we control flying to 1/1. Virulent Sliver costs us 1 green for a 1/1. All slivers have poisonous 1. So whenever they end up getting a poisonous counter, if they have 10 or more poisonous counters, they lose the game. This is something similar to the Infect. A Moonblade Changeling costs us 2, 1 blue and 1 for a 1/1. It's a Shapeshifter Changeling, so that's still a sliver, but here's the reason that we have it. Target creature gains all creature types until end of turn, so we can make their stuff into slivers as well to be able to steal it with our Sliver Overlord. But then we also can end up making them tap it and then they lose all of the creature types until end of turn. Crowd Shredder Sliver costs a red and a white for a 1/1. Sliver creatures you control have flying and haste. So we like the innovation of flying, but we also love to be able to have haste. Crypt Sliver costs 1 black and 1 for a 1/1, who gives all slivers tap, regenerate a target sliver. And now we come over to Crystalline Sliver. Costs us a blue, a white for a 2/2. All slivers have Shroud. So this is where we can't be able to target our stuff, but they can't target it as well. It's kind of a combo with some of our slivers that I have, such as this Crypt Sliver that we had before. But I also find it that protection is kind of needed. With that in mind, we also have the Diffusion Sliver that costs us 1 and a blue for a 1/1. And then whenever a sliver you control becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter that spell or ability unless they pay 2. So it's going to cost them a little bit more to be able to target our slivers with it. Gym High Sliver is our first mana sliver that we have. The ability to tap for 1 mana of any color. Heart Sliver costs us 1 and a red, or a 1/1 who gives it all haste. Hibernation Sliver costs us a blue and a black. It's a 2/2, and in all slivers gained, you pay 2 life, return this permanent to its owner's hand. Mana Web Sliver is the other one that we end up having for the Mana Dorks that turns all of our slivers into Mana Dorks. Costs us 1 and a green for a 1/1. Muscle Sliver gives that little bit of beef to our slivers. Costs us 1 green and 1 for a 1/1, and they get +1/+1. All of the slivers do it. Same thing with Predatory Sliver. Quick Sliver costs us 1 green and 1 for a 1/1 who has flash. We can play sliver spells as though they had flash. Sentinel Sliver costs us 1 white and 1 for a 2/2. Slivers that you control have vigilance, so that means they don't have to tap to attack. Sinew Sliver is another muscle sliver where they get +1/+1, only in white. Basilisk Sliver has a combo that's in this deck that you will be able to see later on. It costs us 2 and a black for a 2/2, and then all slivers have sacrifice this creature, add 2 black mana to your mana pool. Blur Sliver costs us 1 red and 2 for a 2/2, and the slivers that we control have haste. Haste is going to be the big thing because when it comes out of the battlefield, if we end up Primal Surging with it, we'll end up being able to instantly attack and be able to use it. Harmonic Sliver, where it causes a 1, a green, and a white for a 1/1. All slivers have, when this creature comes into play, destroy a target artifact or enchantment. Horn Sliver gives our slivers trample. It's a 2/2 for 2 and a green. Lava Belly Sliver costs us 1, a red, and a white for a 2/2. Our slivers, when they come into the battlefield, we get to deal 1 damage to a target player or planeswalker, and we get to gain 1 life. Necrotic Sliver costs us 1, a white, and a black for a 2/2. All slivers have pay 3, sacrifice this permanent, destroy a target permanent. Vindicate on this stick. Sled Sliver is an interesting sliver. Costs us 2, a red, for a 2/2. All slivers have this creature gets a +1/+1 as long as you control a swamp. And it has pay a black, regenerate this creature. Shadow Sliver costs us 2 and a blue for a 1/1, and all slivers gain this shadow. This means they could block and be only blocked by creatures that have shadow. This is similar to Horsemanship. I would honestly say this is the Horsemanship version in this deck. Spiteful Sliver costs us 2 and a red for a 2/2. Whenever this creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to a target player or planeswalker. So this gives us an ability if we're attacking, they block it, they're still taking damage. But if we're blocking when they're attacking with it, they're still going to be able to take damage. So it's making it a no-win situation either way for them. Siphon Sliver costs us 2 and a black for a 2/2. Creature slivers that you have lifelink. That means we gain life whenever they do damage. Bone Slice Sliver costs us 3 and a white for a 2/2, and it gives our slivers double strike. That's its Sliver. Costs us 3 and a white for a 3/3, and when a sliver deals combat damage, its controller gains that much life. This is kind of like the old school version of lifelink, but you can end up possibly having a double dip where lifelink goes off and then this will go off and you'll gain that much life. Magma Sliver costs us 3 and a red for a 3/3. All slivers have tap target sliver gets +X+O until end of turn, where X is the number of slivers that you have in play. Root Sliver is the nice guy that ends up costing 3 and a green for a 2/2. That's okay. Root Sliver can't be countered. Alright, you got my attention. Sliver spells can't be countered. It stops the counter spells from being able to be played for slivers. Shifting Slivers costs us 3 and a blue for a 2/2. Slivers can't be blocked except for by slivers. So in a way, this can end up being your alpha strike and be able to swing in. However, you do have to be aware of changelings, and shapeshifters because they're also still slivers and they can end up blocking. Toxin Sliver costs 3 and a black for a 3/3. And then whenever it deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature. It cannot be regenerated. Brood Sliver costs 4 and 1 green for a 3/3. And then whenever a Sliver deals combat damage to a player, its controller may put a 1/1 colorless Sliver creature token on the battlefield. And now we're starting to get into the big heavies. I mean, this is all Lord effects pretty much in this deck. So we're going to go to the go-to Lords. Sliver Hive Lord costs a blue, white, black, red, and green for a 5/5. It gives all of our slivers indestructible. Sliver Legion gives causes also all that mana. So it costs a white, blue, black, red, and green for a 7/7. All slivers get +1/+1 for each sliver in play. This is the game ender effect. And then we have something hot off the reserve list. Sliver Queen, the OG sliver. Also costs a blue, white, red, or black, red, green. And it counts as a sliver. It's a 7/7. We could pay 2 and put a creature or sliver token into play. Treat that as a 1/1 colorless creature. So that's the big creature that we can end up comboing off with a Vessel Sliver, where we can end up making a bunch of creatures and they can immediately sacrifice them for 2 black to make the next sliver and keep on going. And now we'll allow stuff like this Lava Belly Sliver be able to burn out any of our opponents. We also have the Synapses Sliver. Costs 4 and a blue for a 3/3. And when its sliver deals combat damage, its controller may draw a card. So that allows us to draw out the first sliver. This is one of those other ones that could end up being your commander. This is another favorite commander for slivers. Costs a white, blue, black, red, and green. So it costs Warburg. It's a 7/7. It has Cascade itself. So that means when you cast this spell, you exile the top card from your library until you exile a non-land card that costs less. Then you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Put the exile cards at the bottom of your library in a random order. Sliver spells you cast have Cascade. So whatever we cast, we end up cascading and keep on getting something good. Ward Sliver costs 4 and a white. We get to choose a color when it enters the battlefield. All slivers gain a protection from that color. And the final creature in this deck, Morphon the Boundless. Costs 7 mana. It's a changeling, so that means it's all creature types. And when it enters the battlefield, you get to choose a creature type. We're going to choose slivers. Spells of that chosen type get a white, blue, black, red, and green less to cast. This effect reduces only colored mana that you pay. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. So that's going to be a nice solid thing. That's going to end up making it so you can end up dropping your Hive Lord for free. Heck, you can even drop your commander for free. So we went over, we saw our commander, we saw the creatures, we saw the sorcery, we saw the lands, we saw the artifacts. What are we missing? Well, the enchantments, of course. And with that, we're going to start off with some training grounds. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost up to 2 colorless to activate. This effect cannot reduce the amount of mana an activated ability costs to less than 1 mana. So this brings it down to 1, especially for our Overlord. That's kind of a nice little nice Babel way to tutor out. Then we have Descendant's Path, costs 2 and a green. For the effect of, at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card that shares a creature type with a creature that you control, you may cast that without paying its mana cost. Otherwise, put that at the bottom of your library. And we're already bugging people crazy enough, so we have Ristic Study. Costs 2 and a blue. And then whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may draw a card unless that person pays the 1. Do they pay the 1? You'll have to find out. Rhythm of the Wild costs a red and a green and 1 colorless. Creature spells you control can't be countered. Non-token creatures that you control have Riot. That means we could put a +1/+1 counter on them, or we can give haste. Our second infinite mana is with Mana Echoes, costs 2 and 2 red. Whenever a creature comes into play, You may add 1 colorless to your mana pool for each creature that shares a creature type with it. Another good way to go combo with Sliver Queen. Then we have the Reflections of Lajara. Costs 4 and a blue. As it enters the battlefield, we choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of that chosen type, copy that spell. So we get to put out more slivers with it. And finally, Kindred Discovery. Costs 2 blue and 3. As it comes in the battlefield, we choose a creature type. And then whenever a creature you control of that type enters the battlefield or attacks, draw a card. So we're going to be able to draw more cards to be able to get to more slivers. Alright, so that ends up making the complete deck in the deck list. Now for a few things that if you're going to end up changing the deck around, you can end up having different creatures that comes in there, like Opaline Sliver. Realm Walker's a nice one, that would be a nice addition. And Telekinetic Sliver. Or if you're getting rid of the entire Primal Surge part of it, you can end up going with the classic ramp like Nature's Lore or Kendama's Reach. Or you can also go Mass Reanimation with Patriarch's Bidding. You can go with counter spells, such as Counterspell. Tutors, such as a Downward's Recall. Or protection like Heroic Intervention. And you got ways that you could be able to quickly cast out slivers and do other ways with it, with Quicksilver Amulet, Cryptic Gateway, and Vanquisher's Banner. And then when it comes to the mana base, you can end up going with any kind of a Triumph, Plaza of Heroes. World Tree is going to be a nice little addition to this as well. And that should be able to get you all fixed. So that's some of the ways that I would suggest to upgrade to be able to go a different direction with it. Let us know what you do. Let us know if you end up having a Sliver deck, and if so, how much hate or how much salt do you end up seeing at the table? Let us know down in the comments down below. Also, if you're liking the content that we're putting out, like, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon to be notified whenever we come out with new content. I'll also like to thank you for watching, and until next time, we'll see you later.